The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome everyone. We are here today for what we're now calling Feminine Mental Health Mondays. So we would like to welcome you. Of course, we are in association with 4 Point Media, and we are sponsored by the Women of Prominence. I am your host, Makita, along with the lovely Dr. Ginger Lavender. Welcome, sis. So happy to have you here with me today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I am honored. Yes. Today we wanted to dive in. We're dealing with major loss of faith, hope. Mm-hmm. And today I wanted to address the women. Yeah. Mondays, I'm praying that we are really dedicating our Mondays to the mental health and the healing of our sisters. You know what I mean? Definitely. Because a lot of us are, last week, Lady M and I were talking about how we're just taught to suck it up and keep it moving, no matter what we're dealing with. Definitely. And we're breaking down inside. And now what's happening is all of the yesteryears and the issues that we've been dealing with, even if it's just been a year or so, it's bubbling up. Right. And we have women that are losing it. And so today I wanted to address how and what we need to do, first of all, to as women, just start the dialogue, right? That it's okay to say, I'm not okay. Aside from that, we have what is called the taboo in our community. We didn't kill ourselves. Right. You know what I mean? And now it is an all-time high rating of suicide in the Black community right now. And we have to start talking about it because the aftermath is a mother has been left without her child. Right. So let's get started. What do you think would be the first thing a mother can do? First of all, just to recover after such a tragedy. We are addressing family, the Bryce Galdi, the young, amazing football player out of, not Philadelphia, out of Florida. And he lost his life by jumping in front of a train about a week ago, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to focus in on the mother because what was happening is she was homeless with her children. They were all living in a car. She was begging for help for a long time. Right. And she talked about how stressed she was. Yeah. And that even when Bryce was talking to her, she was just like, baby, not right now. I can't do it. I've been there. As a mother, I understand that feeling where it's like, baby, I need a minute. I can't talk. And now that her son is gone, she's dealing with guilt and shame and isolation. Right. So let's talk about that, sis. Yeah. What do you think we need to do? First of all, her as a mother, what do you think?
So first, I want to offer condolences to her and her family. Yeah. In such a tragic way. Now we say that
Siobhan is her name. She's she's so beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, suicide is often not talked about. Right. And so I just want to acknowledge the way in which he died, because I think that has something to do as well as for healing. Yes. And whether we call it died by suicide as opposed to committed. Right. So it's something that, happened to them. And death in any instance is tragic.
Yes.
And we talk about phases that a person who's lost anybody goes through. So first is this denial.
Right.
I cannot believe this happened.
That's right.
In such a way. What could I have done? So then there's the guilt.
Right.
What could I have done? What could I have said? Those last moments, recounting all of that. And so part of it is just going through that phase, right? And sometimes it's harder for the person watching because they don't know what to do. What do I say? How do I support? How do I heal a wound that may never close? So part of it is going through the grieving process itself.
So let's talk about that. What are there are 7 steps, if I'm not mistaken, isn't
there? Well, there could be 7, but they acknowledge that there's a continuum.
Okay.
Right? So that some people may vacillate between, okay, I'm angry one day and then I'm at peace with one. And then sometimes I can go through the stages, which is denial first. I can't believe this happened.
Amen.
And then I get angry. I either get angry at what I could have done or the person themselves or the circumstances or who committed that.
Yes.
And then you try to get to a stage of what we call like acceptance. And I use that word very lightly because it's almost just accepting that there was a loss. Yeah. And I can move forward.
Yes.
Not on.
Yes.
Because there's this idea that I forget you if I move on.
It's true.
So it's owning that guilt of what I could do and releasing that. I mean, there's power in connections.
True.
You talked about women and African-American women and all these hats we wear.
Yeah.
And we want to be everything to everybody. Yes. Right? And so it's hard to even take our time to say, you know what, I'm going to sit with this. And so there's power in connections, though. So surrounding yourself by people who love you, who loved him,
right,
just helps with healing. It may not heal the wound, but it helps with the healing process.
I get it. I was really trying to wrap my head and put myself in her shoes, just coming from that mother standpoint when you know your child died so tragically and. You know, I heard her, she was just crying. She said, I wouldn't hold his hand. I wouldn't listen. She said, I just need time for me. I need to get my brain right. I'm going through it. Yeah. I know you're going through it, but I'm going through it. So it's like dealing with that guilt of feeling like, oh my God, I put myself before my child. That's something that most women, we never do, you know?
Right.
And then that very moment that she was saying, I'm breaking too. Right. I need a minute. Her child does this. And I'm going, God, what can we do to support this sister, to let her know that every mother has been to that place where it's like, whoa, I'm breaking too. I'm overwhelmed. I know how you're feeling, you know, because he was dealing, he was confused spiritually. That was a part of it. He was feeling like, you know, like, where is God? We're homeless, right? You know, and, you know, I see people for who they really are is the things that this child was saying to his mother. And in her mind, she's like, we just got to get past this season. It's rough right now, but we've been here before. Right. We listen, first of all, we're the people of the high heat. I always say that. We've had the furnace turned up 10 times hot and we still are here. Right. You know what I mean? So I get what she was saying, that she just felt, she felt that she needed to breathe. But now that guilt, that guilt that she is feeling by saying, I need to breathe. My heart goes out to her, where it's like, where is her mindset now? Right. You know, feeling that way, and how can she get past it? Right.
So there's a couple of things you talked about. What we clinically talk as an existential crisis. Okay. It's a crisis of existence. Why am I here? Right. You know, starting to make meaning out of things. As you said, homelessness, and there's jobs out here, but we can't get jobs. And, you know, I'm very capable, but so there's this existential crisis that teens go through, especially with me against the world. I have my parents' worldview, but I think I have my own worldview. And so how do those conflict? And then, there's this social political arena. And so it's just making sense and meaning of that.
Right.
Part of the reasons why moms don't take time off, because we're managing the emotions of everybody, including our children.
Yes.
And so in an empathetic way, in terms of empathizing with this mom, and I am a mother as well, is that you don't want to take a break or a day off, because really don't get a day off, right? It's just ongoing. We don't clock out.
That's it.
And so then there's that guilt to want to feel the need or to not take the need before your body's going to tell you need it, meaning your body starts to give you headaches. Heart palpitations, high blood pressure. Your body's sending your signals constantly saying, take a break.
Yes, you're right.
Sit down.
It does. It does.
Yes.
And then we go through feeling guilty about doing that. What in the world? So we have to learn that it's okay to take that break.
Right.
And also, I pray that she gets, if that's where he was, there was absolutely nothing she could do to change his mind. If that's where he was, we go through that part. What could I have done? What more could I have done?
And he was a teen.
He's 17.
Right. Yeah. What I do know is it's about the second leading cause of death around teens is suicide. And what I do know as well is teenagers are so impulsive.
Yes.
There is parts of their brain that's not fully developed.
Exactly.
So their ability to ration and reason that my problem today may be fixed next year.
Right.
My problem today may be fixed in the next couple of weeks. It's hard to rationalize that. And so some things that may, for us as adults, we're like, okay, tough times, but we'll get through this.
Right.
A teen may see, okay, I can't help my mom. There's no way that I can get through this. And then there's the impulsivity on top of that, right?
Yes.
So let me do something right now. I mean, teens do that. That's why they get into some risky behaviors, because they're very impulsive.
Right.
So you have that, maybe onset of depression, and then you have impulsivity that creates teens who are highly maybe suicidal. And so then they act on that. And so that's part of the things that, we can't factor in. But the impulsivity is sometimes what hits teens.
Right.
That they're really just, quick microwave.
Right. That's what I tell my kids. You guys are the microwave generation. You want to push 2 minutes and you got it all. No, you have to be willing to. There's work involved in it. It shouldn't take 2 minutes to do the work, and you reap the benefits. You have to put in the work, and I think those are the conversations that a lot of us really need to start having with our children.
Definitely.
A lot of times, it was just do as I say and go on.
Right. A
lot of times, children just weren't heard. You know what I mean? You just did what mom and dad said. But there were questions. I remember as a teenager, me and my brothers and my baby sister, we had questions. You know what I mean? But, it was a Jesus will fix it in a better by and by kind of thing. But as I learned and I grew on my own, I opened a dialogue for my children.
Yes.
I wanted them to be able to know that, I'm Queen Mother. That when you're up under my roof, that's the way it is. You know what I mean? You don't step outside of that. But I am open to you knowing that I'm your voice matters under this roof. Yeah, I got the final say.
Right.
But realize that your voice matters. I need to hear. Your feelings are not right or wrong. Just talk to me about it.
Yes.
Whatever it is. And so I'm so grateful that now that is beginning to mold. And I got more. So I got one daughter and I have 3 boys, 5 boys. I'm sorry, my sons. 5. I got my babies, my adopted boys are my world as well. But, I got these boys that are just becoming,
right.
But that was the hardest work, because, we're dealing with the ego. Yes. We're dealing with, are you going to be the flashy son? Are you going to be the son that's mama's boy? Are you going to be, there's so many different personalities and then they're rough and they tear up.
Yeah, exactly.
But the blessing is that, you know, and then there was some that, my children were all locked at one time. And I remember my firstborn, he came home crying and he went in the bathroom and he was like, I want these gone. I'm so tired of them saying I got to go back to Africa, or my locks are dirty, or I'm nasty. Right. You know what I mean? And he cut his hair at 13. I was devastated. And it wasn't that I was devastated that he chose to cut his locks. I was devastated. Why? I was like, you gave the outside precedence over what I've taught you, the Most High gave you, and me trying to instill, and your father instilling our culture in you. So why would you allow somebody else to have that kind of power? You know what I mean? Yeah. So have you ever experienced that?
Well, these teenage years, again, that's impulsive behavior, right? Yeah. It's like, I don't like it, cut it off.
Right.
You know, not that what can I do?
Right.
But also teens go through identity, what we call identity versus identity confusion. So there's this idea that I am becoming, but I'm confused about who I'm supposed to and destined to
say
be.
Say that.
So outside influences are heavy in teenagers. Your friends are Bible.
Exactly, especially in high school. Oh my God.
And so then there's that influence. But if as parents, we instill and we impart knowledge, there's this bigger influence that sometimes comes in. And so I enjoy that you have these open conversations. Yeah. The fact that he was able to share with you the reason why. Sometimes you don't get that.
Right.
I went and did X. I don't know why.
Right.
I just did it.
Yeah, I've had that one too.
And what I call too is this judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
So when you talked about, you know, your kids being able to share their feelings, I go a step further that there's an opportunity for you to just tell me information.
Oh, good.
And for me not to judge you.
I'm going to use that.
Yes. I mean, just as an adult, you know, we sometimes want to divulge information and not be judged on our actions and behaviors. But teens especially, I encourage parents to be able to offer up a judgment-free zone. Doesn't mean consequences may not come with those.
Of course.
But it allows for the dialogue and the conversation. It gives you a way in. That teens talk to teens.
That's so true.
And so it gives them a way to say, you know what, judgment free. Yeah. You know, go at it, say what you need to say. And then I'm not getting, and I say this, judgment free means I hear the information. I can't have a facial expression to that.
Oh Lord, I don't know if I could do that because my kids are hilarious. They be like, Mom, you be smiling, but your eyebrow go up. Your eyes get booked out your head. You know what I mean? My sons, they clown me and they're like, Mom, like seriously, your face is telling it. You're smiling, but you about to go in, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm about to go in, baby.
Highly expressive.
I don't know. I will try.
I say that because for anyone, if they get a hint of a dissatisfaction with an eyebrow or a frown, it automatically sometimes shuts them down.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
It's like kind of like as a parent checking my facial expressions and say, okay, you can tell me, and Mom's not.
I'm getting checked today, sons. Don't use this against me. I'm coming home. Like, no, but oh my God, but I am seriously getting checked because that is something I can never hide it. Well, I haven't done it.
Right.
But I will try.
Right.
I will give it a good old schoolgirl try because woo, my eyes tell on me.
Yeah.
I would be in school listening at being checked by an adult and I'd be looking at you like, for real?
Right.
Like, did you came for me like that? Yeah. My face would tell you like, I ain't hearing you holler at me though. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't say a word. Right. No one, cause Willa Mae is crazy. My mother would have knocked me out. So I learned to just shut up, but my face told on me every time.
Yeah.
When a teacher would call my mother, they would be like, she's a little, she has a way of getting her point across without saying a word. I had a teacher named Mr. Tex, and that's what he said. He said, she has a way of getting her point across without saying a word. And my mother would say, it's her eyes.
Yeah.
It's her eyes. That's it. It's them big old Popeyes, you know. So I get it, but and I really am going to try that because I have experienced what you're saying, where one of my sons just shut down because he saw me. I'm like, dude, really? Right. You know, my face. Come on, you know what I mean? I ain't hearing you holler though, but I'm gonna let you talk.
So there's boundaries, there's rules, right? So like, you know, within reason, right? Because there's a level of respect that's still there, right? But true. I say that because it just allows for a free flowing conversation, and so in that moment, you're just receiving information. Okay, don't place any judgment to the information you receive. I try. Okay.
I will do my best.
And it doesn't mean that consequences don't come. Exactly. And it's a conversation that you have, you know, as you're, you know, so I'm going to start implementing these judgment free. You can tell me anything you need to tell me. Right. Doesn't, and you know, orientate them. It doesn't mean that consequences won't come. Right. But I want to offer you up this. You know, this is what mommy is willing to do. Yeah. I do. I do. But I'm blessed. I got to say I'm blessed because my boys, they are my riders, and they really talk to me about things that a lot of sons don't talk to their mothers about. Good. You know, I have told them since they were babies, you can tell mommy anything. So they have told me things where I needed a glass of wine afterwards. And I went and shut the door and was like, Lord God, listen, am I supposed to hear all of this? But I'm so grateful that they were honest enough to come talk to me. Me and my sons are grown now, all of them. And we all were sitting in the living room talking, and they were saying to me, Mom, none of us have children at this point. And my eldest born child is 26. Okay. They're 26, 24, and 20. And they were saying to me, Mom, we are going to do what you have taught us. And I was like, okay, tell me what I taught you. And they said, do not take on a woman that you cannot take care of. And I was like, what? Y'all was listening? What? I was in a state of shock. Right. You know what I mean? Yes. I really was blown away. I was like, dude, I know we the homies and all, but you really were listening. Right. Because I was saying this like years ago. So now that they're in their 20s and they want to sit down and have these kind of adult conversations with me, I'm going, whoa. But it's perfect. And I'm not saying that, you know, of course, they ain't been without fault. They're children. So I've been through the ringer. Yeah. But the blessing is no matter what we've gone through, we've been able to sit down, have a conversation, hit it head on. Sure. You know, I'm that mom. I don't sugarcoat. Right. I don't believe in tiptoeing through the tulips and acting like it didn't happen. Right. It happened. If you got in trouble, we're going to address that it happened. Right. And there's a repercussion for anything you do in life, be it good or bad. And we've had those conversations. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the fact that they remembered those things and they were like, my son was like, I have no children out there, Mom. Because that's what we were watching something and a brother had just found out that he had a child or something. It was a video. I guess it was posted on Instagram or something. And my son brought it to me to talk about it. And he was like, I want you to know there are no Makitaites out there. That's what my kids call my babies. There are no Makitaites out there. Yes. You know, we did what you told us to do. So I'm like, okay, I'm so grateful that, you know, because I thought they would just shut down like, okay, here go Mom with another one of her soliloquies and, you know, and, you know, because Dad just be like, whatever Mom says is all, you know. You'll just get on the phone, whatever your mom said. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I'm in a state of shock because I thought that even that they would have these kind of conversations with their father. No, they're having them with me. And that really makes me feel great that they still feel that close to me. Right. That they can share that type of information with me, that they talk to me in depth, in detail. Lord God, please start calling your father for some of this stuff. But it's beautiful that we do that.
And that part has really started minimizing some of the stress that I have had when my children were all away from home. So it's that's a good part. That's the good part about being mommy of sons that you have that dialogue with. And like I said, I do the eyebrow raising, and they'll go, "But Mom, listen."
Right.
So even though I can do the eyebrow and my eyes get big, they go, "Okay, but listen, just hear me out first." That's Dante. Hear me out first. You know what I mean? So I go, okay. So yeah, that's awesome. What do you think that we as mothers should do when we're feeling overwhelmed with having a household of children and we're overworked, we are overdone, stressed, and tired? What is? I mean, of course, most of our mamas is gonna say, first of all, get on your knees, go to Kneebone Valley. That's what my mama and my grandmother would say.
Do that.
Go to Kneebone Valley first, and I get that. But we're also human, and we need to take action. So tell me from your perspective.
Yes. Well, I always say you can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to take care of yourself because otherwise you're not going to have much to give. And a lot of times mothers in our giving, we give so much that the last person we think to give is ourselves. And I say this on so many levels. We give each other, our children, grace. We give them patience, and we're so impatient with ourselves. We don't give ourselves grace to mess up, to have mistakes, and we're so hard on ourselves. So there's this kind of reciprocity, like we have to give to ourselves what we give to others, and that's mind, body, and spirit. So taking care of ourselves.
Why do you feel as though we don't do that?
I think in a lot of ways there's societal pressure to be that strong Black woman.
Yes.
And if you're not that, if you're not juggling things, if you're, not putting people to task,
right,
then you're not living up to this role.
The potential of the strong Black woman. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And how come or why can't we just be a woman? Leave the strong out, because that, like we want to be super women. How come we cannot leave the super out and just be a woman? And that doesn't take away. We can have strength in womanhood. Right. We can have, femininity in womanhood. We can have that all, but I think we try to take on this level of strength. And that depletes us essentially. And so then we end up having physical symptoms that tell us to slow down.
Yes.
Your body's going to say, hey, have a seat.
Yeah.
But I think it's being intentional, having actionable items that you're going to do for yourself.
What do you think? Give us some examples of some of the things that we should do to decompress.
I'm a firm believer in wellness in general. Okay. So what mentally can you do for yourself? If that's listening to something that's very inspirational, if that's journaling, if that's a podcast, if that's a book, but it's a mental moment. So taking a mental moment to nourish that. And even like the spiritual part, if you are a spiritual person, being able to nurture that. A lot of times we are in autopilot. We forget that there's a spirit within us that has to be nurtured. And so I think that if we center ourselves with that, and that takes time. So it takes slowing down. Yeah. I am a firm believer in journaling, writing out your thoughts and your feelings in terms of what would it look like if, so a journaling topic could be, what would it look like if I was living and walking in total wellness?
Wow.
And to really put yourself in that place. And I'm sure you would say, okay, I would have time for this and I would have to, you would create an atmosphere. So then you have to have actionable items to kind of walk into that. So you kind of working your way backwards.
Wow.
In that.
I think that's awesome. I really did that the end of the year. I really started finding things that because I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, hypothyroidism. I went through so many. I mean, I just lost 45 pounds. I was just done. Like that was done. Yes. I mean, I was done. I was carrying this weight, but I was so stressed out. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to even address the fact that I was stressed out. Sure. I just kept moving. Mm-hmm. I kept moving. And my thing for me is I do what I'm taught. I know to go to God. I know to, but you can go to God, but if you ain't applying it and if you're not believing it, you doggone sure will not receive it. Right. You know, you have to get to that place and space where you understand that He is a living source, a force. He is a being. He's a vibration. He's everything that we could possibly need to heal. But you can I would just drop prayers off and keep it moving. Mm-hmm. Right. And then call myself going to just get into a place where I just would sit still. But when I tell you 1,000,001 things would run through my head, I couldn't even think of one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. I'm all over the place. I hope some of you women can relate to that and I'm not crazy by myself. But I have a friend that was talking to me about she got into meditation and stuff like that. I tried it and I was like, yo, I don't even know how to sit still. Yeah. I like the water. You know what I mean? I heard it. Exactly. It put me to sleep. Uh-huh. So I would put on like a meditation thing to go to sleep at night. But I can't say that I was able to sit still, focus on just God alone. Mm. I wasn't able to do that. Mm-hmm. And because my brain was going, okay, Dante needs me. Okay, I got to make sure Naila has quality time. I got one daughter. So spending that quality time with her, making sure she's healthy and she has what she needs from me as a female, that's very important. So all of that's going through my head when I'm supposed to be meditating and figuring out that I am the daughter of Zion that I am, and I have the living well of Christ living on the inside of me, and I can do all things through Him who strengthens me. I can say it. Right. But it wasn't really applied the way it is now, though. I got there, though. What really changed for you? A life-changing experience. Mm-hmm. I don't want to sound repetitious, but my son almost passed last year. So last year was, I constantly say, it was the worst year of my life. My firstborn was struck by a car walking across the street. So that catapulted me into, I spun out for a minute. Mm-hmm. Then I kept calling on my faith. Mm-hmm. So I learned that I was spiritually bipolar. Because 1 minute I'm going, Father God, I know you got me. I know you got me. And the next minute I'm doing this, pouring something in a glass and I'm sipping and I'm going, I don't know what to do. I'm going, pray for me. I literally was bipolar. I know I was because I know better. Yes. And it wasn't until I just made the decision that you are everything that you have said you are, not just to me, but to any and everything that you and your dynamic hands have created. So even if it's unto death, I will bless you. I will serve you. I will honor you, and I will continue to sow those seeds into my sons and to my daughter. And I will hold fast to what you've said in your word to me. Not only do I see it, I believe it, I know it, and I agree with everything that you said. Mm-hmm. Now, if you be the God that I say I know you are, show me what I need to do for this temple that you built to heal itself. Right. So I just started doing research on like how to holistically cure hypothyroidism. Mm-hmm. I started definitely changing the way I ate. Sure. Like I said, I learned how to just sit and be still, even if my mind was racing. And I would just say, if I can't say anything else, Abba Father, I'm going to say hallelujah. I'm going to give you praise no matter what. Because a lot of times I couldn't say anything. Right. I was so overwhelmed. I couldn't say. Yeah. I didn't know anything to say. And so it was that place and space of making up in my mind. I found out how powerful my high place is. That consciousness is everything. Right. This is my heaven. Yes. I can choose heaven or hell every day by that which I believe and what I focus on, and that what I speak over my life, say over my life, and walk in. Because so as I think, that shall I be. The moment I started saying, I'm healed through you. My son is healed through you. My son is home. My son is walking. My son is out of the wheelchair. He's recovering, even though he's walking with that cool stick. Girl, he got a cane now. He think he the man. I'm like, Lord, but God just turned everything around when I shifted my mental. So I think that's really the main thing of how everything started coming in order, because I was devastated.
And the good thing is for you, your spirituality, I call it an alignment. So being in alignment with your mind and your body, because what you were saying is that you're thinking one thing, but then your practices were totally different.
That's it.
So the alignment has to be there. And then you talked about what you spoke into existence, right? Yes. So there's power in words. There you go. Yes. And so there's, positive affirmations.
Yes.
Speak volumes. Yes. And for some people, it they may put them around their house and see them. They need to visually see it.
Right.
Some people need to actually say that. But it speaks to the fact that, in different people's way, through your spirituality, maybe through another faith, that they're able to be in alignment with what body and spirit is, and actions.
True.
Because if, like you said, if I think this and I behave another way, then it's not going to. So now I'm walking as though I believe what I say.
That part.
Yes.
That makes all the difference. That was spot on. It was once everything came into alignment. What I was thinking, what I was saying, and how I was moving. Yes. Once that was in alignment, things began to change in my life. Of course, I had a multitude of people praying, and that was a blessing. They were blanketing over me in my chaos, because I had some chaos that only God can deliver you from. But I get that my faith had to have an action. A lot of times we say we believe things, but we just sit like it's going to drop out of heaven or drop out of the sky or a tree, wherever people might be thinking that their blessings come from. And so you have to move. If you want to be free, if you want to be healed, if you want to be delivered, restored, you got to act like you already got it and start making the movements and adjustments to be that. Right. Because I changed my eating. I changed where I was going. I changed a lot of things. I even let people go. I had to let people go.
This is true. Because they no longer served you.
Yeah.
And so I talk about energy, because energy could be friends, it could be things, it's whatever that energy is around you. It should be uplifting you and bringing to you and not taking away from.
Right.
So those things that take away from you, it's an evaluation period.
I call them spiritual vampires. Sucking, just drawing out. Yes. You know what I mean? And it's okay.
But once you identified that, right?
Yeah. And it's, once I identified that, I was like, oh, okay. So every time we talk, the devil's busy. All right. Every time we talk, this done happen and that done happen. And I think that was another reason why me as a woman, when I was dealing with all I was dealing with, I kept it in.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I kept hearing da, 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 da. I was like, dang, don't you ever have a good day? Like, ever. Is the devil not attacking your car, your job?
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, can a sister just tell you what she's going through? But I would just pull back. And I was suffering because I was trying to be all things to all men at that time. So I get that it's okay if certain people in your life have an expiration date. It is okay. Because my mama would always say it's a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so I'm okay with that now. I used to want to hold on and grab everything and everybody. Wherever I go, whatever I do, we going to rock together. But everybody ain't willing to rock with you. Right. Everybody is not appointed to rock with you. Mm-hmm. Everybody doesn't have what it takes to endure the journey with you. So I had to deal with some hard truths. Right. And that part is when the healing began, you know, that self-evaluation. It's not nobody else's fault. Look at you. Right.
And that, again, self-evaluation, that consciousness. Yes. Right. So that when you started looking at your circle and how you responded and where your energy left after conversations, it was like, okay, or what energy you put out to conversations or failed to. And it's that self-evaluation. Then you started to say, and then you, like we talked about, you started to hear your mom's voice, right?
I really did.
Them partings, right?
That Jersey girl came out once.
But that's why I say it's the power of words that we speak into our children.
Yes.
And that they may not come when they're little, but it starts to come out. And then you have mommyisms that come. And so you pulled on that strength. You put on the word. You pull on these things that were embedded in you. And so it was until you got that consciousness and alignment. And it's like, you know what? This isn't serving me. I need to start pruning and picking. And it's not part of my forever, my destiny, my garden, or whatever, you know.
You're right. That's
what
I call it, my garden. You're right. That's okay. On point. We're one, boy. Right.
Yes.
I'm loving this. Yes. Okay, so I was a text on my way up here. Let me read it now. Okay, so I did get how are Black women dealing with miscarriages, infertility, and placenta abruption? Have you dealt with many clients? Oh God, I got so many text messages here now. Okay. Yes. Have you had to deal with that many, any of that, you know, has there been an uprise, should I say, where women need you?
Well, maternal mental health, in actuality, there's a rise in maternal mortality and a lot of African-American women, which is really interesting. Yeah. And so there's studies out trying to figure out, you know, why is it that, you know, a lot of more African-Americans are dying in childbirth or, you know, so, and then there's maternal depression that comes with that after having, you know, this, I'm supposed to be so happy with this baby that's coming to the world because I wanted this baby. Right. I mean, in other situations, maybe I didn't, but there's this expectations that you glow and you have the snapback and all of that great stuff that comes with having babies. But there's realities that there's so many emotions that are coming that follows, you know, having a baby. And you're still trying to get back what I call a new normal. So it's not going to be your old life because you're creating a new normal. And so it's really trying to juggle all of that. And so there's a lot of depression that sets in for mothers. And if this is your second child, so you may have an older child and you're trying to balance, okay, how do I spend time here and there and the needs? You know, an infant is really needy. Right. I mean, they don't rely on you for everything. Yeah. And they don't have the communication skills. So you're really juggling all these things. And so we really, or I really talk to mothers about really paying attention to that prior to childbirth. Right.
So what happens after, what is the first thing that you normally deal with women that have had the infertility and the miscarriages? What is happening to them mentally?
So there's a few things. Okay. So that, you know, there's this societal expectation of a womanhood means that you bear children. Right. So there's this, since you were younger, they sell baby dolls. That's true. In the stores because girls get baby dolls and boys get trucks. I mean, there's this like systematic social, ecological approach to how we are socialized to want to be mothers. You're right. And depending on our personal experiences about being a mother, we want to be similar to our moms, maternal figure. Mm-hmm. And so when and a lot of couples are now trying to, dated, got married, now we're going to have kids, and there may be some infertility concerns that come up. And that's, for a lot of women, very devastating, because it's like, I've done what I needed to do, and I'm here at this point where I really want to have a child.
Wow. Yeah. And it's okay to tell them that. And I will pray. It's okay to say that we're barren, we have issues, because there are other ways to be a mother. Yes. You know what I mean? And there's so many babies that need families. Right. So I get it. You want, I love him. Right. I want to have his baby. Yes. I understand that part. But acceptance is really hard, I think, for us as women, like you said, because we are raised that's a part of being the alpha woman. Right. You got to be able to breed. You got childbearing hips. This is what you do. Yeah. So if you don't, it's like, what? And I was doing some research and listening to Serena Williams, listening to Gabrielle Union. It was so many young women, and even Beyonce, I was shocked, that she had a miscarriage and the devastation and how long it took her to come out of that. So what should be our steps in the healing process? Right. Because the first thing that, I understand, I've had a miscarriage myself. So the first thing that I know I felt was guilt and shame. And then I wanted to isolate myself. And I didn't want to tell someone that I could not have a child. Right. What? Right. Me? You know what I mean? It was that kind of vibe, but it's okay. You don't know until later why the father took that child. Right. Right. And, of course, you can defy the odds. You can go have a surrogate. You can go do the in vitro and all of these different things now if you want to bear the child yourself and get your miracle babies or whatever. One of my dearest friends, she did it, and she has 3 of the most beautiful babies I have ever seen. And so I think for women to know it's okay. It is. If you can't naturally have this baby, it does not make any of us less of a woman.
This is true.
That's the first thing, right? Right.
Yeah. And it's a lot of work to get to that place. And for it's easy. So there's support groups that I think infertility support groups or women who've had miscarriages, because to hear it from someone who's been through, that's actually leading that group or kind of talk about their experience means the world. It does. To say, I got through this. I've experienced the same feelings as you. Right. You can get through this. The how, the when, I think it's with any loss. I can't tell you how fast or how slow you need to go through your process of grieving. But to be able to know that once you get through that in acceptance, that there are other ways to fulfill the need. And it's an unmet need if you want to be a mom. And like you said, there's other ways that you can fulfill that maternal role. And I talk about, there's celebrities who are in the news who've had that and they have money to do these things. Right. And I really want to mention that sometimes, a mom may not have the resources
That's it.
to be able to have a surrogate or in vitro. True. That might not be an option for them, but there's other options. Right.
We have fostering. A lot of people, especially if there's someone in your family. My mother was a foster mother. So the families have the first option to adopt the children. My mother was raising crack babies. Right. I mean, they brought these beautiful children to us on heart monitors and, they had been abandoned or whatever. But it was love and nurturement and prayer that brought these babies. And now every last one of them just are grown, amazing, beautiful, productive human beings. And it was the love. Right. And the thing is, that's what I'm saying. There's so many babies that need us. Yeah. And I think, for you not to think that just because it didn't come from your womb, you can't love that child as your own. Nah, because I got two that I did not give birth to, but oh my God, I'll go through the fire to cover them and protect them, and I love their birth mother too. But, and I honor her as such. But I'm mama too. I'm M too. And I love them as if I gave birth to them. Right. And so that you have to change your paradigm in anything. You have to adjust yourself to your way of thinking when it comes down to what we're trying to do in life if it doesn't meet what you think or how it should go or how it should be. But you might be that special one that's chosen to raise another child that needed you more than their biological mother or father. So I think it's okay that we have children that didn't come from our womb. It's not taboo. It's not something bad because they're all us anyway. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially our children. Black children are outrageously numbered in orphanages and all over, from here to Haiti to Jamaica to Africa. We're everywhere. Our children are in orphanages by the almost to capacity, where it's an overflow. And so we need to be all right with raising our babies because the village. I
was going to say that, and we're communal families in the sense that most, African American families was raised by multitude of people. Yeah. And so even in my personal story, I have 3 boys, but I have a niece who's like my daughter. She is my daughter. She told me that she was like, "You're my mother." Aww. And I didn't take her from the womb. I'm like, I'm not your womb mommy, but I'm your mommy.
That's beautiful.
Because it's that it's a village to raise kids, and you see the need and you feel the need, and I can't tell the difference. And
so good.
Yes, and I tell people that we don't know what our level of impact is on these kids, that I call foster or mother or. You never know until you may never know. Right. But the importance of having a strong caregiver in their lives who's willing to kind of support their dreams and their ambitions. That's it. Means the world. It does. So, that to me is the definition of mothering.
That's it.
And so if we you said the paradigm shift, redefining motherhood. And what that means, I think as a society helps.
So true. That is so very true. Well, sis, I think we have had the best conversation. Yes, we have. I'm loving the fact that we're just starting a whole new venture with healing our sisters. We really need to know that we all have a soft place to fall. There are all kind of numbers for first of all, for suicide prevention, to help our children. But women, we have church groups, we have community centers. If you want healing, put yourself in alignment to be healed. Google self-help, women's meetings, women's organizations. But you can always call here every other Monday to Feminine. I like that word. Feminine Mental Health Mondays. We're going to start doing the work, family. Let's do the work that we need to do to become the daughters of Zion that the Most High raised us all to be. He did impart something dynamic in us women. It's a given. That's why people want you to always be super, because there is something special on the inside of each and every one of us. But everybody and everything has a limit. So remember, don't cap off. Do what you need to do to keep the super on your natural, because you are natural as well. And so your natural is where the limit, there's a cap there on your natural. You got to take care of your natural self, daughters. And I'm praying that you, first of all, keep us in your Rolodex and on your TV screen and on your computer and your cell phone. And lock in the number here at Morris Studios, if you will. The number is 323-293-3375. So you can call in if you need to address, give your testimony, or even advise another sister that might be listening. We hope that you come back to us every other Monday. This is our first time. This is my first time sitting with the lovely Ginger Lavender. I love her already. You are so awesome. Thank you. I thank you so much for your gift, my sister. Thank you. Keep doing, keep being, keep flying with big, big, huge wings. Help save another sister. Yes. We need you. Thank you for what you do for us, our community, and everybody that walks the face of the earth. Okay. So everyone, we look forward to you coming back, not next Monday, but the Monday afterwards. We'd like to thank 4 Point Media. We'd like to thank the Morris Media Studios and each and every one of you for tuning in today for Feminine Mental Health Monday. Yes. Once again, my name is Makita. No, I don't use my last name. And my beautiful co-host, the lovely clinical psychologist, Miss Ginger Lavender. Is there anything you would like to close out to give anybody any words of wisdom to apply, sis?
I just feel we talked about the whole just really ridding ourselves of this notion that we have to be super. Amen. We can just be women. We can empower ourselves, and we empower each other. And there's beauty in connection. Yeah. So just meeting this beautiful lady next to me, I'm just like, it's so many beautiful connections and spirits, and really connecting with that. The last quote I would say is that there's this quote that said, "The sky is the limit, but really the limit is you."
Say that. Fix it.
Yes.
I like that.
So let's not let you be your limit is what I'm saying.
I love that. Yes. That's it. You can do anything and all things if you focus, stay in alignment.
Yes.
Woo. And don't raise your eyebrows when somebody's talking to you. I gotta keep that eyebrow down.
Yes.
I think I got it from my brother Eddie. I'm going to blame that on my brother. Right. But I'm so grateful that we have had this time together. Thank you so much once again. Come back week after next for Feminine Mental Health Mondays. I am Makita, and this is the lovely Ginger Lavender, and we are signing off saying peace and shalom be unto you. Thank you for watching. Heaven must have known that this day would surely come along.